get on with it. We've got 3 more to do this afternoon.
The story has been gleaned from county records, contemporary periodicals, and tales handed down for generations.
Hey! Get away from my house!
That lot comes off once you've paid the rent.
In January of 1844, rent collectors repossessed the home of Mark Nery's nephew, Bartholomew.
The sooner you pay...
Are you leaving?
We'll be back. We'll be back.
Good luck to you. Come on, lads. Let's break this on.
The Nerys celebrate a rare victory over the mighty English. But their joy is short-lived. A deadly threat is lurking in the fields of Ireland. One morning in the summer of 1845, the Nerys wake up to a foul stench. Farmers across Ireland tell the same horrific story.
Their lovely potato plants, which showed such promise the day before, were all covered over with black spots and leaves and stalks hanging down as if dead.
The potato blight smell was unbelievable. You know, it would basically hit you in the face. You would vomit just in reaction to it. People would be in agony for hours and hours after they'd consumed this potato.
A family in County Kerry remembers the growing panic.
The blight thrives like a demon from hell. Some potatoes look sound enough on the outside, but as we touch them, they squash into mush.
Dr. Coffey has injected healthy potatoes with the blight to study its early effects.
The bacteria got in very quickly in this instance, and it's already disintegrating the tuber. You can see it's already a slimy pulp. Within a week, 2 weeks, possibly, this tuber will completely disintegrate. It'll be an oozy slime, a foul-smelling mess, just like the Irish faced in the 1840s in the famine.
All of Europe is afflicted by this mysterious and fast-moving disease. Scientists today believe it first arrived in Europe with seed potatoes, shipped from Mexico. By 1845, nowhere is as hard hit by the blight as Ireland.
In this little vial is the pathogen which destroyed the Irish potato crop. It's actually one of the most destructive plant pathogens we know of. Even to this day, it's extremely difficult to control. Probably more money is spent on attempting to control this disease, this plant disease, than any other plant disease.
Entire fields are destroyed in a few days. For Ireland's farmers, it's the end of the world.
I don't think we can exaggerate how profoundly disturbing this thing was. It looked like a biblical pestilence. And what was it hitting? It was hitting the potato, the very staff of life in Ireland. It was completely ripping out, you know, what made possible the fabric of Irish rural culture.
In the fall of 1845, panic spreads even faster than the blight. Desperate farmers rush to salvage what they can, but it's a fatal mistake. A local farmer recalls.
They allowed too many spotted ones to get mixed up with the good tubers, with the result that the spotted ones smited the others and most of the good ones went bad. The disease affected the whole district. It was all over. No man's crop escaped.
Under the microscope, we can see the actual spores, which are dispersed in the air. Literally, trillions of these spores can be produced in a very short time. They spread over long distances by wind and rain.
By the time the crop of 1846 is ready for harvest, the blight has tightened its death grip. In Ballykilcline, the Nerys stick to their rent strike. But now they face a terrifying new enemy: starvation. their struggle for land and dignity becomes a struggle for life itself. By harvest time 1846, the killer blight ravages the Irish countryside. Over 80% of the potato crop is inedible or destroyed.
It's the worst thing you can imagine. The knowledge that if you eat it, you're going to die. If you don't eat it, you're going to die.
Cut that away, John. Put the good bit in the bowl, pre-jug.
The Neri family is starving.
Same with that, John.
Their landlord threatens eviction.
Don't waste any, John. That's dinner.
The Neris are ready to explode. The Ballykilcline rebels hit the streets, along with hundreds of farmers from all over County Roscommon. Ireland's landed gentry fears for its safety. An eyewitness describes the mounting tension.
Matters look very threatening. Last week, a large assembly paraded with a loaf on a pole and a placard, food or blood. 2 orders of dragoons are ordered to Roscommon.
Violence erupts across Ireland. Shadowy gangs of militants with names like the Molly Maguires and the Ribbon Men hit the landlords where it hurts. Livestock are destroyed. Manor houses set ablaze. Near Ballykilcline at Strokestown Manor, it's business as usual. Like most landlords, Dennis Mahan is cut off from the people and intends to stay that way.
The groomsmen would have put the horses in the stable, and then they and any other kind of staff or whatever would have been expected to disappear down this discreetly positioned tunnel, just to make sure that they couldn't be seen by the gentry from the windows above. There's a special gallery inserted into the kitchen so that the lady of the house, who didn't want to be contaminated by mixing with the ordinary plebs on the floor, could literally drop down the instructions every day about what she wanted for dinner or whatever, and just look at the enormous range of kitchenware and spits and pots and pans used for creating these sumptuous meals for the delectation of the landlord class at the very time when the ordinary people themselves were struggling to find enough calories to keep themselves alive.
Soon, all the tenant farmers have left to eat is grass and nettles. Across Ireland, the great hunger leaves too many dead to count, too many dead to bury. The experience of one eyewitness still haunts a Roscommon parish priest.
The famine grew more horrible towards the end of December 1846. Many were buried with neither inquest nor coffin. The first was that of the father of 2 very young children, whose mother had already died of starvation. His death became known only when the 2 children toddled into the village. They were crying of hunger and complaining that their father would not speak to them for 4 days. They told how he was as cold as a stone.
The famine creates tens of thousands of orphans, a tragedy with an intimate meaning to the thousands of Americans tracing their ancestors.
I know my family's from Ireland, but I want to know where in Ireland they're from.
In America, Dennis Shanley's informal research leads him to believe he came from a part of Ireland where he may have shared the Neri's defiant heritage. Even in the face of starvation, the Neri family hungers for justice.
I tell you, boys, it's not the right time.
I say we go up to the big house tomorrow night and torch it. We've waited long enough, Dad. I'm not waiting any longer, do you hear me? We have to strike while the iron is hot.
We don't know what it is just yet.
In the debris, Orser's team uncovers proof of their defiance.
It's a very tiny object, but it's a powerful object. It's a political object, really.
On a fragment of a clay pipe are the letters P-E-A-L, for repeal, a battle cry to revoke direct English rule of Ireland. The Nerys are part of a national struggle.
So when we look at that fragment of the repeal pipe, what we're looking at is one of the great mass democratic movements in the 19th century world.
By 1847, it's survival, not politics, that grips the countryside. The blight is in its third year, a year that is known to this day as Black 47. The smell of rotting potato plants is overwhelmed by the stench of death. One family remembers.
So numerous were the dead and the decaying bodies that the air became putrid with stench and disease and germs. Fires were lighted in different quarters to purify the air.
Even now, the Nery family is too proud to beg for food. But their desperate neighbors look to London for help. Too bad the Englishman in charge of aid to Ireland blames the Irish people themselves.
The great evil with which we have to contend is not the physical evil of the famine, but the moral evil of the selfish, perverse, and turbulent character of the people.
The British government at that time was strongly influenced by evangelical Protestantism. When the blight hits, one of the commonest ways that British kind of culture read it was to say, well, this must be a judgment of God on the Irish.
The British government forces landlords to foot the bill